Hello world, today we are interviewing Taniqua Jones, the daughter of the late ODB, also known as Old Dirty Bastard. She is from Brooklyn, New York with experience in art, fashion, and healthcare, and we are really excited to have her here today. Plus, make sure to check out our website BDP.1. Yes, instead of .com, it is .1, so make sure to check it out for merchandise, upcoming events, and more. Starting this episode off with a favorite, Serial by Ricky Monique. Definitely check it out. You can find it in the link below on the House of Legacy podcast playlist. All right, let's get into episode 3 of season 2. My name is Time Journey, and this is the House of Legacy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the House of Legacy podcast. Today, we are joined by a special guest. Please introduce yourself and your legend.
Peace, everybody. My name is Taniqua Jones. I'm the daughter of the late, great, Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang clan.
Yes. So let's start with your upbringing. Growing up in Brooklyn, then, Long Island. Like, what was that like for you and your childhood being ODB's daughter?
So growing up in Brooklyn, we left Brooklyn pretty young. Okay. I want to say, I believe, 5th grade. Yeah, 5th grade I moved to Long Island. But Brooklyn, my memories from there with my father were a little crazy.
Okay.
I remember we went to this school, and I'm like, if anybody hears this, they're going to be like, oh my God. PS 73. It was Brooklyn. It was such a ghetto school. And one day my father came to pick us up and picked up me, my brother, Young Dirty Bastard, and my sister, Shaquita. And he walked us from the school back home. We lived down the block. And literally the whole school, children and parents, followed us.
Whoa.
It was like 100 people. It had to be like 100 people that I'm remembering. And we went inside a corner store because my father, he was such a big kid. And we got anything we wanted, like always with my dad, candy and everything. So they closed off the whole store so nobody could come in. And all I kept just visualizing, and what I visualize right now in my head is that I was looking outside, and I'm just like, it was people just blocking the whole store. And I just thought it was so crazy. Yeah. And also my family, my father's side is really big. They're really big, and they all old school, so old school music. So we used to gather at my great grandmother's house. Her name was Miss Cuffy. Okay. And my family used to have sing-offs. And so my father and everybody, he swore he was like Rick James. So
wow.
They would just have big family sing-offs, and it was just fun. Just those, just being around family and enjoying that and just having great memories. And then we moved to Long Island. Long Island was like the start of like everything because we always moved around. So Long Island was the longest we stayed. And that was like 7 years. And my father, he would come back and forth. And even like we had, nobody really knew. Nobody knew until one day he popped up at my school and bought me some munchkins, for my birthday. And one of my best friends now, she's seen him. We wasn't friends at that point. We didn't know each other. She was like, Old Dirty Bastard is in our school?
Wow.
And so everybody, they started hearing it. And then when I went to each school, I went to middle school and to high school, everybody knew I was coming before I came. And it was just like, if I was walking around, like if I was like this object, this thing that people would just look at and be like, oh my God, that's her. She's here. It was crazy. And I didn't like people know who I was.
Right. What would that do for like your confidence in terms of like being a young girl and dealing with that kind of pressure? Like, what did that do? Speaking to other young girls that could be listening, for your self-esteem growing up and blah, blah, blah.
Well, one, it was a little crazy because we lived in, I'm not going to say predominantly white, but we lived in Deer Park. So it was like a mixture, but on the side that we lived in was white. So, that part for self-esteem was, really trying to figure out where I belong, because this was like a new thing because we were just used to being around our culture. And now it was just, predominantly, we went through a lot of like racism out there and everything.
Wow.
And that people knew who I was, I couldn't really figure out who was there for me to be my friend. So I had to weed people out. And, it took time. It took time to, really be like, okay, this person's really here for me. This person's really my friend. But to me, I felt like I did have a high self-esteem, but also at the same time, I had my insecurities as well. Like my lips, I didn't like how big my lips were, which I think my lips are so beautiful now.
Right. Yes.
So it took me time to build who I was, because we moved around, like I said, so much. So this was the first place we settled. And then, living around, predominantly white people, it's just like, okay, mixing in, and, I had big boobs, thick. Right. So it's just like, where can I fit in? And my mom had us on all the sports. So it's like I had little troubles, but then I didn't. And I was like the most popular person in school. I was on every sport, about to become captain, the cheerleading team, all of that.
Wow.
So school was fun for me. School was really fun. And then once I figured out who I really was and figured out who was right for me, that was it. Not to say I was cocky, but I was nice, but I knew who I was. I was like, once I got to a place I was comfortable with myself, I already knew I was beautiful. I knew I was beautiful. I was this beautiful athlete. I had this popularity, and a lot of times I didn't look at it as my father, but even though other people, like even till today, I don't look at it like, oh, people know me for my father. I just look at me like I'm just a regular girl, and people like to me, you're not regular.
Right.
So, but to me, I'm like, the way I grew up is I had all the same struggles, So I just felt like I was a beautiful, popular, confident female once I got into the place where I was. But now, if you ask me, I'm where I know, I'm comfortable where Taniqua, now I'm fully developed and understand things. I think at that age, you're still trying to figure yourself out.
Right.
But I didn't know how smart I was too at that age, because I was in so much different things, and my cheerleading, kick line, swimming, all those things was more important to me than, schooling. And I had decent grades, but when we moved to Georgia, that's when my grades skyrocketed, because I didn't have those friends, that popularity anymore. I lost all of that.
Wow, when you moved to Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from Long Island to Georgia, that's the timeline.
That was when, so my father, he passed in 2004. Yeah, 2004. Okay. So we moved to Georgia in 2005.
Wow.
So I was in 11th grade when that happened, in 11th grade. And then we moved out here, and, I was already like depressed. So when I got out here, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to have friends. I didn't want to mix and mingle with anybody. I just wanted to be by myself. I gained weight. I didn't, I was depressed out. When I first moved out, I was depressed. But I tell you, my grades went to A's.
Right.
I was an A student once I got out here. I'll tell you that, because I didn't focus on everything else and everyone else. I just focused on me.
Wow.
So
that's beautiful. Yeah. I was gonna ask, usually, at least for me, I feel like as a daughter, and being like a talented, creative type of daughter, then all the credit would be given to like my dad. But I think often we forget about moms and their role and how much they played, in our lives. So what role did your mother play in your life growing up?
My mother is my rock.
I love that. Yes.
Yes. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, Yode's daughter. I'm like, I'm Isolene Jones' daughter too, okay? She is like the pinnacle. Like, yes, my father was there, but he wasn't always there. He was on tour a lot. And then also, it's not something that's hidden. He was on drugs too, So that really changed his character, who he was, and him being active in our lives, once we got older. But my mom, before, when we was young, before we was even born, my father, he was in the 5% Nation. So he taught my mother, how to be, a righteous woman, earth. And he instilled these lessons in her, and just how to be, be, I say, a queen, and just walk right, and how to dress and how to eat right. So with that, she taught us. And my mother is our rock, till this day. Like, he was an intelligent man. And, a lot of people nowadays, everybody's opening their eyes, everybody's waking up, to so much, even like when it comes to the government and so many things. And he was already speaking on that. And everybody was just looking at him like, oh, he's crazy, he's a clown, he's this and that. And now everybody's like, he's a genius, he's a prophet, he's this and that. Because everything that he said came to light. And everything that he told my mom came to light, and she's been rocking out, and we are where we are because of my mom. My mom has carried the torch, and she's just been this. She's definitely the person. If she wasn't here, we wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she carries this whole family.
I love that. Okay, that's amazing. I was going to pivot into now asking, what's your relationship with the rest of Wu-Tang? Is there a relationship? Do you guys work together? I see you do a lot with your dad's legacy as well, so, and your brother too, of course. So, let me know.
So first and foremost, before I say anything, I just want to give a shout out to my brother, Young Dirty Bastard, because we all are the face of my father's legacy, but he is the face, and he is pushing hard. And if people don't know, he is, I'm not saying he took my father's place. Nobody could never take my father's place, but he does all the parts on tour with Wu-Tang, which is a blessing that they gave him the opportunity to, be a part of that, to, show people, who he is, and, embody that. And my brother is who he is. A lot of people think, oh, he's imitating. No.
That is who he is. Right.
He is who he is.
Yes. That's
and dope. ODB's his father. So a lot of time, most of the time, when people have children, we have their DNA. So their likeness will shine through us.
Right. Yes.
So, but connections with the Wu-Tang Clan members. Riz and Jizza is blood. They're cousins. Okay. I love everybody. The person that I'm like, I love, like, he's not even blood, is Raekwon the chef. Okay. He's so fucking humble, and he's so real. He can keep it a buck with you. And he calls me his niecey. When I got older and I was able to go out to the tours and concerts and everything, I got closer to him. Jizza, I'm cool with Jizza. When I see him. Once in a while I'll hit him up. But Raekwon, I'll hit him up, text him, he'll text me back. When I see Method Man, I remind him who I am. And like when they had Madison Square Garden. The last show we had there, I seen him. I was like, "Do you know who I am?" He was like, "I'm so sorry. Tell me who you are." And I told him. He's like, "Oh my God, you're so big!"
Right.
You're so big.
Right. It's like a shock, because they're like, you were so little. Yeah. What are some accomplishments that you're proud of that you've made in your lifetime so far?
So, my biggest one is my children. Oh my God, I love my babies. Those my babies. Yeah. So that's the biggest accomplishment, is me stepping into who I am when it comes to my family and, my father's legacy, because it's like, I always had a battle between what I'm going to do. Is it going to be in the music industry, or is it going to be Taniqua in the healthcare field, or whatever I like? So I was always trying to fight between the two and try to figure out exactly what it is, because we are legacies. And I always like, no, I'm just regular. No, I'm not regular. We not regular. We not. Me now, I'm just figuring out, like, basically, because it's been a struggle for me, getting in the age of what exactly works for me, because, it's a lot of times that we got to drop our regular lives and go and fly off and go do this and that to go promote my father, go do that. And of course, I'm always going to take the opportunity to go do that. I don't care what job it is I'm holding. I got to go. I'm like, what is it that I can make money, and how can I, bring income in for me and my family and support them? So recently I did an art gallery in Atlanta. And it was called ODB Wednesday. And, I reached out to different artists, and I did this on my own. And I'm so proud of myself. It's something I've been wanting to do. I love art. So it was a success. I got about 5 different artists, and everybody created a vision of what they seen. And, I had people come out and everybody did it for the love as well. I didn't have to come out of my pocket. I had sponsors and all of that. And I made it happen. And I was like, this is it. This is what I love
that.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. So now I'm working on a tour, our gallery tour. Yep. So I have somebody. They just recently, my father received a proclamation for ODB Day in New York. So November the 15th is officially ODB Day. And it was at the Lincoln Center in Manhattan.
That is so amazing.
Yes, so that's my route. I love art. I want to do my own piece one day. So we're looking at Canada, we're looking at Vegas, we're looking at New York. Of course, that'll be the first that, I really want to hit. LA. We're looking internationally. We're looking Japan. We're looking Germany, Belgium, all places.
Yes.
So we're working, piecing this thing together. And making I'm gonna say, if you ever seen the Book of Hope, I haven't seen it, but she worked on an outline based off what I wanted. Okay. And it's gonna be interactive, a virtual experience, and also have different artists from different cities be able to represent their city with ODB.
Right.
So so it's gonna be a traveling tour, art gallery for ODB. So that's what I'm doing right now.
I love that. ODB. I love that. Congratulations to all that. And obviously, I think that's so amazing. And obviously I want to support in any way I can. As we close this interview, this is on such a great note too. I have the 3 last questions I like to ask everyone. So where do you see yourself in 1 year?
Whew, girl, I see myself been traveling or getting myself, because I'm like, this one's going to take a couple months to prep. Yeah. I see myself international. I see myself doing this art gallery. I see myself with, my family. We have A&E project coming out. We just waiting for some more things just clear up, and that's gonna drop. So in a year, I'm looking for us to be out traveling, promoting, making money, and getting my father's legacy out there even more. People don't know, who he is. We want them to know, and it's really hitting we want to get to the youth. So my father always said Wu-Tang. He was the one that came with Wu-Tang for the children. So we definitely want to hit the youth, and I want to, after this, nonprofits, work with children, and undeveloped communities, that don't have resources. That's where I want to hit. So yeah, that's where I see myself.
I was about to ask you, the second question was, how do you plan to continue your legacy?
To continue your legacy, you have to get to the youth. Okay. The youth is, I feel like, one of the most powerful things, because if you don't get to them, your legacy will die off. So, in ODB, and I'm just saying ODB, my legacy as well, that is my legacy. It's just instilling knowledge in the youth. Yeah. And, just he was more than just a name. He had a personality. His personality was unorthodox. And it's so important today on who he was, also with his mental health, that is so many Black men going through a lot of what he went through. They have systematic racism, and my father's been through it all. So with all that being said, he is so relatable, especially in today's society. So I want people to know him, because a lot of who he was is inside of people and what they're going through in their daily lives today. So yeah, I want to hit that.
Dope. Okay, last question, and this is a good one. Any advice you can give to the next legacy holder listening?
Advice I'll give you: keep going. If it's something that you want to do, don't look the other way. Don't think twice. Stay on your path and keep on going, no matter how hard it is. And don't be scared. Don't say you can't do it. You can do anything you want to do. Anything you put your mind to, you can do it. The doors are there, and you can walk right through them.